You are listening to The Mismatch, presented by FanDuel. America's #1 sportsbook has made it easier than ever to get in on the action during an NBA playoff game, even after tip-off. Just look for the live SGP tab on the FanDuel Sportsbook app and build your bet slip. Then sit back, relax, and track the outcome of your parlay right in the app. And if you don't already have it, download the FanDuel app today to make every moment more. The Ringer is committed to responsible gambling. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available, and listen to the end of the episode for additional details. You must be 21 and present in select states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
Welcome to The Mismatch. I'm Chris Vernon, and joining me as he does every week from TheRinger.com and straight out of Madison Square Garden on this Thursday, May 29th evening, where the Knicks have extended the Eastern Conference Finals and saved all of us as basketball fans from not just having to sit around for a week
off
without basketball. Dave Jacoby joins me. Jacoby! It
was tough to get out of the Garden. Everybody stayed in their seats until the final buzzer. And then, 7th Avenue was nuts. Nuts.
Right.
Like, you
I want to hear.
can't get out.
We're not starting with the end, Jacoby. We're starting with the beginning. So, first of all, did you buy tickets to this?
Yeah. They
online,
after,
like a secondary market?
If you want to start with the beginning, I think it's important to mention Game 4.
Okay.
Because it didn't look good for the Knicks. It just felt like the Pacers were better prepared, better executing, better basketball team, just from top to bottom. And I think that affected the ticket prices. So I often look on a ticket app, and I saw a little dip in the market.
Oh.
So I said to myself, wait a second, we have a show that night. Wouldn't it be good for the show if I went to the game? So I got some tickets.
Look at you caring about the show.
And I'm in the 200 sections. You've been to MSG. You take the escalators up. Took a little more escalators up than I'm used to. Things are different up there. The hallways are tighter.
I kept looking for you next
longer.
to Chalamet and Kylie Jenner, and I didn't see you. And I was like, oh, maybe you didn't get those seats.
No. But I had a great time. And I think the Game 4, I think it's kind of silly to talk about it on this Thursday evening after Game 5, but the Pacers were just better.
Well, and the reason to bring it up is because it depressed the market on this, because you're only going to a deciding game if your team loses, right? Otherwise, you're not going to the only way that this decides anything is if the Knicks drop it. Otherwise, there's going to be a Game 6 in Indiana, and obviously Knicks fans very hopeful there will be a Game 7 in Madison Square Garden.
And we'll drill down on this game, but Game 1 was Nesmith hitting 6 threes. Crazy. Like miraculous, like an act of God. Right. And I thought Game 2 was Pascal Siakam, 16 points in the first quarter. Nuts. Game 4, Haliburton, he was like Magic Johnson mixed with Penny Hardaway. It was just nuts. It was crazy. The lack of turnovers, the whole thing. And Game 5, I've never seen this Knicks team play defense like that. I just have not seen it. I have not seen it.
And we talked about this before the series even started, Jacoby, about the pace of the game. Is this going to be up and down? Are the Knicks going to get duped into playing full court basketball? Because if it is a half court game, that is where their advantage lies. And to wit, they have won 2 games in the series. They have given up 100 points, and they have given up 94 points tonight. And I went back and looked just to see how rare this was. Now, obviously, 100 was the lowest that Indiana had scored in the playoffs thus far. They had only lost 3 playoff games coming into tonight. In their loss to Cleveland, they scored 104. In their loss to Milwaukee, they scored 101. And then their loss earlier in this series they scored 100. But I went back to the regular season to find if they had scored less than 94 in a game.
See, I can't do this because I'm at the game. That's why I love you doing the research.
Okay. The last time they scored 94 or less was February 4th at Portland.
Were there like 7 guys out or something?
No.
Back to back?
No, this is the craziest thing. It's only happened. Look, hold on. I charted it out. 1, twice, 3 times, 4 times. It happened 5 times this year.
So they've played 82 plus.
Yes.
Let's think. Like 9, 10. Like it's they've played.
Well, so the 15.
90,
15.
Yeah. 97 games.
97 games. 5 times where I could find they scored less than 100. Okay?
Oh, I thought you meant 94 or less. So less than 100?
Yeah, less than 100. Yes. Okay, listen to this. Hey, when I tell you the games, you're immediately gonna write it off as they didn't care about that game. Listen to this.
Are the Hornets involved?
Yes!
Of course they are. Yeah.
Look, 89 at Portland, 890 at Brooklyn, 80.
They went out that night. That was probably, I'm gonna guess it's a Saturday at 3:00 in Brooklyn.
It is honestly, when I went through and charted this out, I was laughing so hard because I was like, 94 seems like they never score that. And so I'm like, let me go back and look at when they scored low totals. Okay, 89 at Portland in February. Then they had to go back in December one time at Brooklyn. In November, they did it twice at Charlotte and at Orlando.
And this is under 100.
Yeah. I mean, those were 90. They scored 90 in those games. And then the other one was they scored under 100 the second game of the season. They got run out of the building by the Knicks, no less. So 5 times.
Oh, that was right after that Celtics game. Remember the Celtics game to start the season?
Yeah. Second game of the year. But and honestly, it's Portland, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Orlando. So like this team just does not score low totals ever. You can go through the whole damn season and you try to find these, and it like they stick out like a sore thumb. It might happen once a month or twice a month, but both teams virtually, they've got the craziest like schedule chart when you look at it, because everybody's just, both teams are in the hundreds every game. Every game. Also,
the stat on we all have the same algorithms that pump us the same stats. The stat on the Pacers is that 114 is their watermark. Right. When they're over 114, they've got this crazy number. But to be 20 points below that from a Knicks team not known for their defense. This is not like a defensive team.
Well, they were immense, and they cut the head of the snake, right? Haliburton, boy, are we 2 days removed from Haliburton as a top 10 NBA player discussions. And,
dude,
I mean, he went 32, 15, and 12, which is truly beyond superstar numbers.
Zero turnovers.
Tonight.
0.
2 for 7, 8 points, 6 assists. And, you know, Cat was on the postgame show with TNT, and he talked about how we wanted to crowd him and give him no space, and they showed these clips of Mikal Bridges and others. I mean, just, it's no airspace the whole time. And we wanted to make him see multiple guys, right? So they were good. The intention was, we're going to make this guy's life hell. And obviously the reason is, going into this game, he had scored or assisted on 41% of the Pacers' points in the series. Tonight, he scored or assisted, and he was involved in 23 of their 94 points. 21%.
Which is a big percentage because they didn't score at all.
Unbelievable. Well, and honestly, nobody else did either. I mean, Siakam's 5 for 13.
Mathurin was like their weapon.
He's the only one. I mean, Turner, like we talked about,
3 guys in double figures. They had 3 guys in double figures.
And we said this is a balanced team It's not like where it's like really heliocentric where they're counting on one guy or they're counting on two guys. Like even when you looked at like the top scorers in the playoffs, it was like, here's Haliburton, here's Siakam, and here's Turner close behind. And then they got a couple other guys that are getting you 10 or 12. Well, Siakam was 5 for 13. Turner was 2 for 3, 5 points and 4 turnovers. And
what?
Yes.
Wait, Miles Turner had
5 points and 4 turnovers. And Nesmith was 1 for 8, 1 for 5 from 3, 3 points.
So you're telling me that Miles Teller had a better game than Miles Turner?
I think Miles Teller had a better game than Miles Turner. And Aaron Nesmith, who in game 1 made 5 threes in the last 6 threes in the last 5 minutes of the game, made 1 tonight.
I think, and I was going to get to this later because I want to talk about the game, but I do think this was a bit of the Warriors game 5, Steve Kerr, Indiana game 5, Rick Carlisle being like, you know what? Maybe it's not our night. They jumped out to an early lead. Let me play Nesmith a little less than I normally do. Let me play Haliburton a little less than I normally do. It did feel a little bit white flaggy. Did it feel that way watching on the TV?
It felt
I didn't want to talk about this early.
No, but they even talked about this on the broadcast. They had a discussion on this in the broadcast, and I agreed. I think Kenny Smith was trying to do he was trying to be the rebuttal, but that didn't work with Shaq and with Chuck because they were talking about how they thought Indiana played like a team that had wiggle room. And I agree with that, right? Yeah. There was a level of intensity and desperation that they could not meet tonight. And the Knicks won every 50-50 ball, and they were fighting and scratching and clawing the whole game, and that never happened. Coaches now, and Carlisle even said it after the game, talking about playing with force. We didn't play with force. I was actually
on the city bike riding here, and I listened to all of that.
But
the phone was in my pocket, so I just had the broadcast on in my earbuds. And but I'll say one thing that was very important from being in the building. It was so important they started hot.
Yep.
Because everyone's so excited. And like it's game 5, and like the energy is so high. And game 4, I guess not for people that don't really, really pay attention, but if you're really paying attention, game 4 was really bad for the Knicks. Like it was like really bad.
Well, Haliburton was out of control great.
But it's not just that. It's just like the defensive rotations, the matchups. It seems like they were just like, it seemed like the Pacers were better at every position, just a better organized basketball team from a coaching standpoint as well. So I went into this being like, you know what? Beat the Celtics. Like if you don't make the finals, it's fine. And to start that hot and to have them call an early timeout and have Brunson like hit a 3 and get a layup and just like get the crowd on their feet. I think that was so important for this game because they rode that wave through the end. The Knicks don't win like this. This is not how they win.
Before they started so hot and they got on that early run, did you think there was like a nervous energy in the crowd, or did you think everybody was hyped and that Indiana was walking into a hornet's nest? Because I've been in those arenas where it's where it's like, I hope we win. There are those games where it's like,
dude,
there's the I hope we win games, and there's the we're going to kick your ass games.
Oh, this was I hope we win game for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And myself, I've been walking through the city all day being like, look, you set yourself up to beat the Celtics, and you ran into some crazy performances from Siakam and Haliburton and Nesmith, and like, it's okay to be second place in the Eastern Conference. That's what I tell myself all day long. I was like, it's okay if you don't win. Like, it's not that big a deal. But there were still moments like the Hack-a-Mitch moment was like, I've watched it on television and felt it on my couch, but when you're in the building, when he's on the line, someone tried to start a let's go Mitch because there's a lot of like let's go Knicks chants, but that's like, so it's like, so we got 30% of the crowd being like, let's go Mitch. The other 70% of the crowd is like, everybody shut up. This man needs to focus. And the second it leaves his hand, it's just so obviously off. Because when you're in the building, you can see the trajectory of a shot in a different way than you can on TV, it's like, it's so clearly hitting the back iron. And then he does it twice in a row. And then you look at Towns with 4 fouls and you're like, oh no.
Here comes Precious.
Precious. Exactly.
Oh, by the way, speaking of chants in the crowd, I'm going to give you your credit. I was so proud of you starting that Landry Shamet. I was so proud of you starting that. I'm like, that's how I know Jacoby's at the game. There's a Landry Shamet chant.
There was a Landry Shamet chant on the staircase leaving the building after the game was over.
I love it.
I couldn't believe it.
I love it.
And I don't know if I've expressed it on this pod, but I'm not the biggest Landry Shamet fan.
Oh, yeah, we know.
Not the biggest
We
fan.
know. That's
like
why
all of his stops, not in New York, but like all of his stops. I'm like, what is this man good at?
I thought to myself, because you can hear it loud and clear through the TV after he gets the. He's got McConnell pinned on the baseline, and he slaps it off his knee, and then they come back down the other way, and the whole crowd is going, Landry Shamet, right? And
like
doing the thing.
100% of the crowd, like
and
not just like one section.
All I could think about was you probably grousing, slinking into your chair, like, oh, Jesus, I'm not doing this.
Do you know what I did?
What?
I did it.
You did Landry Shamet?
I thought there's something about like the group. You know what I mean? Like we're all a hive.
Peer
They're
pressure.
Up by 16. Yeah, it's just like, sure, why not? Landry
They
Shamet.
won you over.
Oh, DeLon Wright made a couple plays. It's so weird because like last season's Knicks team, it was like, oh, like OG can't play. And Thibodeau's like, we'll play with 4. You know what I mean? It's just like, but to his credit, like he's opened up the rotation. He's done weird things. He's kept Brunson out longer than he normally does. And there's a real good Karl-Anthony Towns stretch. And I've said on this pod, and I'll say it again, like when you watch Knicks games, like there's no answer for him driving towards the basket on the Celtics, or like there is not a single person on the Pacers that can stay in front of him. When he up fakes and decides that he's going to take 1 dribble and 2 steps, and his drives, like you watch Anthony Edwards or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who we're going to get to, but you watch them drive to the basket and finish at the rim, and it is like, it's like classical music. It's like jazz.
Graceful.
It's like
there's
perfect.
a grace to it.
Yeah, it's just, and they get their knuckles to the rim, and they're using the athleticism and tricking the defense and moving their shoulders and everything. But like, Cat is like a tank going through mud. It's gonna get to where it's going, and it's ugly and it's gross, and he's cuffing the ball like a football. Like it's just gross, but it works.
It
like,
does.
There's no answer for him on this roster. Who's the best defender on the Pacers to stop Karl-Anthony Towns when he's driving towards the basket?
I mean, they're trying Siakam, and he's just flailing.
And Turner's not working either.
Right. And so I would say that, well, let me just speak on the Cat thing first. They flashed up a stat at the end of the game where I was like, whoa, now this is some very, very, very exclusive company. Because look, we're getting stats every single night of course, this is the first guy to do this, then this.
Oh,
and,
yeah, like the Haliburton game.
That's the way it goes. Yes.
Insane. Yeah.
Well, and it was overload with the Brunson stuff tonight. Like, they were like, Brunson's got 10 games in the playoffs now with 30 points and 5. No. No, it's 30 points and 5 assists in a game, right? 10 times he's done this so far. And they said it's happened with Michael Jordan 3 times, LeBron James 3 times, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander this year, and Jalen Brunson this year. Like, those are the only times that you've had 10 games with 30-plus and 5 assists, and 2 of them are going on simultaneously in this postseason.
I would say this to that stat is there's a difference between doing it once and doing it 3 times.
Well, no, 10 times.
No, I mean, doing that. No, LeBron and Michael have 3 of those.
Oh, right.
You see what I'm saying? There's a difference between doing it once and doing it 3 times. Like,
yes, For
Like,
sure.
yeah, you guys are having a great year, but
Yes.
you have a great career when you do it 3 times.
The Cat one, which this is the one I was talking about, is exclusive company. 20 points or more 5 times, right, through the first 5 games of a conference finals. And Brunson and Towns apply to this. And the only other times it has happened are in 2002, Kobe and Shaq did it. And in 1966, Jerry West and Elgin Baylor did it. I was stunned by that.
Wait, say it again?
You had to have 20 plus, 2 different guys.
Each of you, 20 plus.
In the first 5 games of a conference finals.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of qualifiers there. Sure.
No, it's really not. Wouldn't you think that like LeBron and Wade did it? Wouldn't you think that like there's been a bunch of duos in the history of the NBA?
Of course.
And so you would think like, all right, 20. I mean, we're not talking about
Kobe would do it.
Yeah, we're not talking about 30. We're talking about 20. But 20 plus in the first 5 games of a conference finals in tandem. And they have done it every game. So, I mean, and we talk about this over and over again, Jacoby. Do your big dogs deliver, right? And obviously we're going to get to Ant and Randall versus, Gilgeous-Alexander and his running buddies. But tonight was a night where it's like, Brunson delivers in absolute spades. He is a superstar level performance, and Towns is simultaneously great. And on the other side, Haliburton stinks. Siakam stinks. Turner stinks. And it's like,
I want to talk about Haliburton.
Yeah.
What I saw in game 4 was like a chess master. It was like a someone who has perfected their craft. And someone who has made themselves excellent and everybody around them better, and is the conductor of this offensive orchestra that I honestly felt, I was like, man, I can't wait to watch him against the Thunder defense. I can't wait. And then tonight, what was it strategic?
It's slow down basketball. It's slow down basketball.
But you don't, okay, so to the stat that you just gave, you don't see Brunson go from, is he a top 5 player in the league, to what happened to him. And you don't see Cat do that either. There's a consistency to them no matter what the other team throws at them defensively. And I've said it to you before the playoffs started. This is not about Pacers versus Knicks. Before the playoffs started, I said, Haliburton is like a hot and cold, up and down playoff performer. And the stats back it up. And I've never seen it so hot to so cold.
Oh, has anybody?
48 hours, dude. In 48 hours.
There were legitimate debates on where he is within the pantheon of NBA superstars after his performance in Game 4. That was a real discussion that happened everywhere. For a good reason. He had 32, 15, and 12.
And 0 turnovers.
It was unbelievable. He was
dominant.
Like, amazing. That you could put that stat line up against anybody's stat lines.
Dude, I've watched all the clips. I watched all the Game 4 clips of Haliburton. He was doing things like God level shit that was just like there's that one play, I forget who it was, he had Mitch on him, and he just raised up like he was going to shoot a 3, and then acted like he was going to drive. And this isn't like brand new, and then took a mid-range shot, which isn't really his thing. And it was honestly like, I don't know how any human could stay in front of that. We have to assassinate him to win Game 5.
Well, and I think that this is right when you get to the point where you can deal with all manner of things that are thrown at you. That's why, and we've talked about so many times that like teams typically have seen a lot of different defenses. They've had different coaches game plan against them. And so you take all that institutional knowledge and that's when you truly become consistently great, right? It's the challenge that Anthony Edwards has. Like, he's going to be so much better for what he just went through and those struggles. And Haliburton, we'll see, is this a bounce back in the next game? Or is this, hey, we figured out how to really tamp down this guy, and this is the head of the snake, and you see what happens when we cut off the head of the snake. And so it's easier said than done, obviously. Look, his numbers going into tonight were absolutely incredible. This is by far the worst of the series. I mean, I've got it right here. So far this series, he was averaging through games 1 through 4, 24 points on 46% from the field, 33% from 3, and 11 assists, and a plus 28. Tonight, 8 points, 2 for 7, 0 3-pointers, 6 assists, and was a minus 23. Like, it wasn't anything like any of the first 4 games we've seen. It's crazy. They shut him down.
They did this last year. Haliburton did this last year against the Knicks. I don't have it in front of me. It was like game 2 where he was just like 4 points. It was just kind of like, just didn't show up. Like, I've seen this before, but as someone who's rooting for the Knicks, I'm terrified. I'm terrified of the bounce back game.
Well, and
one thing's interesting
because you won everything, Jacoby. I mean, tonight they won rebounding.
They scored 94 points.
They won rebounding. They won offensive rebounding. They won assists. They won the turnover battle. Like, this was a dominant Knicks performance. Truly.
Yes. And it did feel, I was sitting there being like, why is Haliburton sitting this much of the second quarter? And why is Nesmith sitting this much of the second quarter? And I thought that Carlisle was sort of reserving energy for a potential second half comeback, but they just could never get the game close enough for that to happen.
Well, and if you probably heard him after the game, one of the things he was talking about was, and this is why I do like Rick Carlisle, they were asking about, like, hey, your best player only took 7 shots tonight. Do you need to get, and he's like, I need to do a better job of, right? Like, they obviously showed him things and they were doing things that were to take him out of the game. I need to do a better job of putting him in different spots. To Tibbs' credit, if you notice tonight, there was a lot of Brunson off the ball at the start of that game. You weren't starting the possession with Brunson, right? Like, this is, and there are wrinkles that happen as this goes on.
They would start with him off the ball, but he would get it with, after 5 seconds and then still do his Brunson thing. But I thought that when Nesmith was in the game, they did a good job of being like, hey, Bridges or Hart, dribble the ball up, dude. Don't make this man body up against like a 215 pounds of steel wire and turn his back to him and dribble. Like, they did a good job of making it a little bit easier on Brunson.
Well, P.S. in that fourth quarter, when there's no way everybody doesn't have a little PTSD from game 1 because the lead's huge.
Everybody, I was with 20,000 other people. We all had it. When it got down to 12 points.
I know.
When it got to 12 points, it was a problem.
But it was such a crazy, I can't imagine what it was like in the arena, because on TV, it was such an insane viewing experience for there to be 3:34 left in the game and they're down 16 and Reggie Miller's like, this is when Nesmith got hot in the last game. You're like, they're down 16. Like, it is crazy to think back. Like, how are we even talking about how this could possibly be a game? But winning plays down the stretch, Hart again, 2 big buckets. Andy's had double-digit rebounds in 3 straight games off the bench, just like getting every loose ball. And then Bridges, I swear, Bridges can get that damn shot off on anybody. That one where he goes to the free throw line.
There is nothing more reliable than Mikal Bridges dribbling into the paint, getting 9 feet from the basket, raising up and shooting a fadeaway. He missed 1 in the fourth quarter, and my whole section was just like, what the fuck? Like, he did. I think
he never misses that.
In my head, he was like 30 points. And then I saw at the end of the game, he was like 5 for 6 from the field. And I was like, I remember that one miss more than anything else. When he gets to that spot, because his arms are so long and his release point is so high, when he gets to he puts his lead foot down and jumps backwards and fades and then relocates the basket. It's just going in. Tonight,
they gotta use that more. They got to use that more. It feels unstoppable.
Well, so does Cat.
Yeah.
And so does Brunson. Like, I think Bridges is fine where he's at. You know what I mean? I think during those non-Brunson minutes, if they really load up on Cat, you can use him a bit more. But this is a really good Knicks game. Every player played their role perfectly.
Yes.
And you don't normally get a 9 out of 10 from 6 or 7 guys. You know what I mean?
Well, it is one of those perfect storms where it feels like the Knicks played great and the Pacers played like crap.
And I think part of the Knicks playing great made the Pacers play like crap. This is the best defense I've seen this team play. This is the best defense I've seen them play.
Of course it had an impact. I mean, they were swarming everywhere.
FanDuel is letting you get in on the NBA playoffs conference finals action right from the first tip. Right now, we are down to the wire. Game 6 in front of us in the Eastern Conference Finals. And right now, all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend when you bet the NBA playoffs. That's right. Just use your token on a 3+ leg same-game parlay or same-game parlay plus on any NBA playoff game this weekend, although there is only one Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and you will get bonus bets back if you don't win. This Game 6 in Indianapolis, I find to be very interesting. The Pacers, as we discussed here in the mismatch, they may have waved the white flag a little bit in Game 5. They might have said, you know what, we'll take care of this in Game 6 at home. And that is a very dangerous game to play when you have playoff performers like Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns wearing Knicks jerseys. So what I might do, over 20 points for Towns, over 30 points for Brunson. Money line, Knicks win. You put that all together in a same game parlay or a same game parlay plus, and you'll get bonus bets back even if you don't win. And I love betting on FanDuel. They have their great promotions every day, safe and secure app, instant payments when you win. There's no better place to bet playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/mismatch and get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend of the NBA playoffs. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Remember, you must be 21 and over and present in select states, or 18 and over and present in D.C. Opt-in is required. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
And so, and look, Game 6 will tell the story now, right? Was that we had some wiggle room? We're not desperate. You're desperate, right? Like, if we lose, we're going back home to close you out in Game 6.
We just saw this 3 weeks ago with the Warriors and the Rockets. It's the same story.
I know.
It's the same story.
To
we're
me,
on the road. We got down early.
Yep.
We don't need this one. They need this one.
And next thing you know, you're playing in a Game 7 on the road.
Exactly.
And look, I agree with the TNT guys who say it. By the way, can I just mention a very odd experience with the TNT thing, because this might be the last time you ever see us on this channel.
I felt this way ever since they announced the ESPN thing. I'm like, where are you guys going?
It's
like
you're
gonna be doing preseason games in like 5 months.
I know, but they have to do this whole this may be the last time, but hey, we're bringing this new show to whatever network we're going, and it's going to be great too. And should we say goodbye to everybody? And should we shout out to every cameraman?
They did a whole documentary. As far as I understand it, every production assistant is coming back. They're in the same studio. They've got the exact same show. It's just with on
a different channel,
different letters. Yeah, and it's like, so listen, everybody deserves their flowers, but you are not going anywhere. As a viewer, it's the exact same for me. It's the exact same.
It's just very strange. It's like Inside the NBA on Turner, this might be the last broadcast. And then it's like, actually, we'll see you on Saturday. For Game 6, too. Right? Yeah. Right, where it's like, so you've got this whole, you're towing the line of, is this the last time we're ever doing this on this channel? Oh, actually, it's not. We'll see you on Saturday. And that'll be for sure the last time we ever see you on this channel.
Unless there's a game on Monday.
unless there's a game on Monday.
And also, it's like literally, as far as I know, I don't have the details of the deal or whatever. As far as I understand it, they're just going to change like the logo in the middle of the desk. Like I think everything else stays the same. It's the same guys, the same production crew, the same everything.
So anyways, what I was saying is odd deal watching it, but I did agree with them when they were saying, and this is good for you to speak on because you were in that environment. I felt like, and sometimes you can just be overtaken by the environment you're in. But their sentiment was, Charles especially, was that's 100% must win for Indiana because they are not winning a game 7 in this place. And I was like, oh, okay. Like he was truly like they were like,
so
Indiana better take care of business in Indiana because they will not win a game 7 there. And I was like,
so funny because like there's your instinct and then there's like the numbers, and both of these teams have played so well on the road in the playoffs. Like the Nesmith, Nemhard, and Haliburton shooting numbers before this game were like they're like double on the road.
And I got it that they're up 3-2 still right now. But the Vegas odds are pretty severe still. Like I saw right before we went on.
The Pacers have 2 chances to win. Like
I got it, but minus 360. The Knicks are plus 310. I mean, but look, the reason I say this is because that's just based on 6, Jacoby. The Knicks will be favored if there's a game 7 in New York.
Absolutely.
So it's really just, do you think the Knicks can win on the road 1 game, game 6? And I will say the one thing I would hold on to, if you're a Knicks fan, that would give me hope, is the 94 is so anemically low. Like that is so far beyond like anything reasonable. I told you, bro, this does not happen to this team. It doesn't. They're shitty games. They score 100.
There were 5 games under 100. But also it's like Mathurin had 23. Siakam had 15. And then third highest scorer is Toppin with 11. Dude. It's hard for me to sit here and be like, I know what's going to happen in game 6 because I am also 48 hours removed from game 4.
I know.
Where the Pacers were just better. Dude.
But
they led from start to finish. They were just better.
Let me try to pump you up a little bit. Then thinking that there's a chance. I got it. It's a long shot. Pacers are going to be favored in game 6. The giving up the 94, and more importantly to me, is that what backs against the wall Knicks look like? You cannot replicate. You're never going to see backs against the wall Knicks until their back is actually against the wall. But their level of effort, intensity, focus, detail, like all that stuff, all showed up tonight. Maybe they get run out in game 6. I don't know.
I don't know either. I can't sit here and predict it, but I'll say this is like, when I look back at this series, I think that Nesmith had the game of his life in game 1. And I think Siakam had the game of his life in game 2. And I feel like Haliburton had the game of his life in game 4. So, and maybe Obi Toppin's going to score 35 points. Right. But it feels like they're having outlier performances to beat the Knicks. And Brunson's always going to have 25, and Cat's always going to have 20, and Hart's always going to get some offensive rebounds. I just feel like the Knicks' performance is just more consistent, and there's more variance with the Pacers.
They have actually outscored the Pacers so far in the series. Total.
Well, when you do what you did today, that's going to swing.
I got it.
It's been close. The games have been close.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm very confident that they win.
Well, look, we're all, and here's the other thing. If I'm trying to talk you into this as to why this could happen, bro, everybody in the free world admits this should be 3-2 Knicks.
And also,
it should be 3-2. Like the game 1 was literally a miracle. It was like,
I spoke to the guy next to me today. I was like, it was like an act of God. It was like an act of God. There's like a force majeure or whatever they say in your contract.
Like we were talking about how, like, you know, you get these goofy stats about players after every game that takes place. But like the stats after that one were like, teams in this situation were 0-5 million.
yeah.
You know, but the Pacers have done it 3 times. Like, what? What are you talking about? 0-3 million. Like one has ever lost.
People, I think, forget about the Bucks one they did, and
I know
the Cavs one with the Nesmith.
Oh no, I still
Haliburton dribble back.
No, only because, you know, I write down everything like longhand, so it helps me retain it. I still remember what I had written in my notebook during the Cavs series, and the stat was that teams down 7 with less than 90 seconds to go were 1-384, and it was a Oklahoma City game against the Clippers in like the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
That was it. And then the Pacers,
Novak hit a couple threes. Yeah,
no,
it's like, okay.
But the Pacers had done it twice already in the postseason. Before that, teams were 1-384, and then they won up that with the stupid Knicks game. Which, again, you make one free. If OG Anunoby makes a free throw, if Karl Towns makes a free throw,
there's so much. Yeah, there's so many plays.
Things. Yeah, I know.
It's so many.
I don't think. I mean, look, I can't tell you, and especially after the Thunder just humiliated the T-Wolves, and we know that the finals has a set date. We had to have this happen.
We need this. And we need this as basketball fans. Like,
yes.
A full week off is just weird. Like, I'm going to start watching, like, the Liberty. Like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I'm going to start watching, like, WNBA games. Like,
I've been watching, dude. I joked with my buddies today.
I like WNBA games, but that's for, like, later in the summer. That's not for June. Yeah,
so, you know? I was home. The kids had stuff going on. They were gone. And so, it was like 5:36 yesterday, and I was like, well, the game doesn't start until 7:30. Like, I got to kill some time. And so I joked with my buddies today. I said, I told them, I said, if you would have asked me at 7:05 Central last night, if you would have told me that the worst thing I watched was not the Brett Favre doc on Netflix, I would have never believed you, because I watched that damn thing just to kill the time.
Brett Favre?
Yeah. You know those
no
Untold?
I have no interest.
Okay.
None.
You know they have that whole Untold series, you know, on Netflix? Yeah. Well, the new one, I mean, it should just be called Brett Favre is a Dirtbag. It's like an hour of Brett Favre is a dirt. Like, and it's so crazy because, just a little sidebar on this, like, we don't live in, like, the 50s, right? Like, where it's like, they treat this whole documentary as if everybody out there still has this super high opinion of Brett Favre and doesn't care about any of his indiscretions, like we don't know about him. It's not
We've read all the stuff.
It's not like Mickey Mantle. Like,
I've seen the picture of his dick he sent Jen Sturger.
Right. We all know. Like, so you don't need to convince me, right? Where it kind of felt like, hey, I'm going to try to convince you for an hour that this guy's a dirtbag. And it's
We've all read it.
Yeah. Like, this isn't my dad, like, finding out that Mickey Mantle wasn't the greatest guy, you know? Like, he didn't have any means to know. And so then you would be theoretically exposing that.
Yeah, a quick Google search can get you there in 10 seconds. We don't need a 15-minute doc on this.
Oh, my God. And so anyways, the point is, I was suffering because I'm just, like, looking for things I'm just trying to find stuff to watch.
Friends and Neighbors, bro. Friends and Neighbors.
What is that?
John Hamm's new show on Apple.
On what?
Apple. Good. Yeah, just finished. It's good. Yeah. Good show.
How many episodes? What are we talking commitment-wise?
9 episodes.
All right.
It's not going to blow you away with intelligence. It's a great watch.
Don't worry. That's not my speed.
Yeah, there you go. So while we're doing asides, before we get to the other series, I got one for you. I'm at the game, right? They got this thing. They put a big tic-tac-toe board at half court, right?
Okay.
And they got this guy named Will. He's going up against, I forget the guy's name, I'll call him Gary. So you have to make a layup, and then like one of the promo people gives you a big X or an O, and you put it down to play tic-tac-toe. We've all seen this before, right?
Yeah.
My guy Will, he's the first one to the board. Bottom right corner. What are you doing?
Oh, that's an interesting
centerpiece
move.
There. Anyone who's old enough, you've seen Hollywood Squares. You go center, right? Yeah. Oh, no, I think he went top right. Oof. So then the other person goes center. And then he goes like top left.
This is the most entertaining thing to you, isn't it?
And the other person goes top middle to block Will. So he's got 3 in a row sitting right there waiting for him.
Yeah.
Will comes back first from making the layup. Doesn't block Gary.
Oh, no.
And the whole crowd, 20,000 people, are just like, what is wrong with you, dude?
Yeah, deservingly so.
Have you ever played tic-tac-toe before?
He might not have.
It was like he's in front of 20,000 people. When I said to the guy next to me, I was like, he does not have kids. Anybody with kids knows how to win tic-tac-toe. Because you're waiting for the appetizers. You've already ordered. You're killing time. Like this guy Will, God bless him. Because they're like athletic dudes in their like late 20s. Like they're making the layups. And I've never seen anyone fumble tic-tac-toe this bad before in the world. And he did it in front of 20,000 people that were on the edge of their seats. No one's going to the bathroom. No, we're locked in on this tic-tac-toe game. And he fumbled it twice.
Oh, and you're there in front of, Ben Stiller and Timothée Chalamet and Spike Lee, and you got all kinds of stars sitting in the front row. It makes it all the worse, right? And you got all these famous people sitting there watching you, telling you what a bum you are and how bad you stink at tic-tac-toe.
And imagine walking off of that court and realizing what just happened.
Oh, the worst. 2 quick questions. Hey, did you go with a buddy or did you buy a ticket as a single?
Solo ticket, because I tried to buy 2 and like the price is doubled. Solo
so you
ticket,
bought
but
one ticket.
Walking in, thing is like I know a ton of people here. I've been here forever, so I bumped into a buddy and his brother, 2 of my good friends, Ben Dietrich and Alex Dietrich. Ben Dietrich's worked with this crew before, the host of the Cookies podcast, and so I hung out with them before, and I hung out with them at halftime.
Did you know?
I don't leave my seat during the game.
You did, and you did not know the people you were sitting next to.
No, but the woman to my right, I don't think she's a life Knicks fan. I feel like she might be from another country and just like there for the vibes. She's just like, I just want to see this game. And the guy to my left was like old school Knicks diehard, and me and him chatted the whole time. He was a dad. Yeah.
Do you buy refreshments? Do you buy stuff at the game?
I do not eat at Madison Square Garden.
You don't?
I do not eat there. No. But just for vibes, like I don't want to be intoxicated because I have a show to do after the game.
Understood.
So just for the vibes, I'll get 1 beer just to like have for the first half, and then 1 beer just to have for the second half, just for like muscle memory. But I'm used to sitting in the 100 section. In the 200 section, no cup holders. That thing's going right in the ground.
I will say the ice cream there is fantastic. I know because I went and that's what I was doing when the Grizzlies were getting beat by 65.
Yeah, well, you guys, the Grizzlies were down by so many at that point.
When we went with our
wives,
wives,
had to turn your attention to something else. Yeah.
I left and went to the lobby and bought a Patrick Ewing plushie, a Josh Hart jersey for my kid, and a bowl of ice cream.
Because they do Celebrity Row. And let me tell you, like, usually people are just like, they like, look at the crowd, they point to the camera, they're like, let's go Knicks. Patrick Ewing was fired up when he got his moment. He was fired up today. Oh, yeah. He was big.
That's awesome.
They had Shabuzi there. I don't remember Shabuzi being I don't remember him being, he might just be in town. I don't, probably because Beyonce's been in town. He probably like did a feature or whatever. But I don't remember him being a big Knicks fan. I don't remember Miles Teller being a big Knicks fan, but
there's a bunch.
They were there. Were there.
All right. Well, look, obviously the Knicks are moving to Game 6. There have been, I saw a little bit earlier, there was a guy on Twitter. I always shout him out. Anthony Donahue, Anthony MSG. he said 1994. Went to Indiana for Game 6 in the Eastern Conference Finals, down 3-2. John Starks had a huge game, and the Knicks won, forced a Game 7, won that, and went on to the finals. Then 1995, went to Indiana, down 3-2.
That was the second round, right?
In the second round, and won, forced a Game 7 at the Garden, and we know what happened there. Then he said, and then I forgot about this one. 2013, went to Indiana down 3-2, and Roy Hibbert, enough said. That was the Carmelo block.
Yep. The verticality postseason.
Interestingly enough, though, 3-2, 3 different times in Indiana.
It's also weird that Roy Hibbert was like the most important basketball player on the planet for like 2 weeks that year and then just disappeared. Completely disappeared. Shout out to Roy Hibbert. Let's briefly talk about...
He's on CBS Sports Network now.
Good for him. He's always had a good personality.
He is. No, he's good on TV.
I've always liked him. Always liked him. It was just odd that he went from one of the most 15 important basketball players. I'm not going to say best, but important, talked about, impactful basketball players on the planet. And then 2 years later, it's like, who wants Roy Hibbert? Like, guess what? No one. It was weird.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's gone the way of we just went through that whole time span where Draymond eradicated all big
men. yeah. It's like Draymond Green, like the fat kid from Michigan State.
I know.
If you're over 7 feet, you can't get a job.
Yeah.
And now it's like 2 bigs. We need 2 bigs.
All right, so let's move to the other series. So the reason that we're excited that we're at least going to get a Game 6 in Knicks Pacers is because Oklahoma City laid waste to the Minnesota Timberwolves. That was a disgusting backs against the wall performance by the Timberwolves. I mean, theoretically, you make all manner of adjustments. Your back is against a wall. There is no tomorrow. And I texted you last night. I said, they just scored 9 points in the first quarter. It was over so quickly. It was unbelievable.
I don't want to let people too far behind the curtain, but before I took this gig, I spoke with some of the important people at the Ringer, and I was like, I just want you guys to know, I don't have a second Spectrum account. You know what I mean? I'm not rewatching games twice. I'm just a dude that loves basketball, and I watch every game every night. And I'm
you didn't need one
constantly.
For this, by the way.
And no, but so I rewatched that game.
Why?
Because I was like, what? I want to see that I saw what I saw. And when I rewatched it in the morning, I think it was much more of a Thunder victory than a Timberwolves loss. I think the Thunder just belt to ass them.
Did you go over to Zach Lowe's house to watch it in the morning? He always watches games.
No, I have
a
League Pass account.
Okay.
Yeah.
He watches games in the morning. I thought you might have just gone over to Zach.
No, he lives upstate. He's too far away. If he was in Manhattan, I would go over there. Yeah.
You guys could have gotten together for a rewatch.
Old friend, great to have him back at the Ringer. But I was I rewatched that one because I wanted to make sure I saw what I saw. And on the second watch, it was much more of the Thunder defense being excellent than it was Anthony Edwards not showing up or the Timberwolves giving up or anything like that. I really felt like it was just the Thunder were that much better than it was the Timberwolves just having one foot out the door of the series. That's how I felt rewatching it.
I am going to do something that I did not intend on doing certainly a few days ago certainly, as of maybe even 24 hours ago, I would have never suspected that I would be doing this. But I am actually going to quote Magic Johnson.
Oh.
Yeah. And then just attribute it to myself. And
sure.
Obviously, you may not know this, but Magic Johnson has one of the most profound Twitter accounts in the world. He's always profound. And he tweeted something that I felt that maybe I should have tweeted. Me and Magic were on the same page.
Is it about the Princess Bride?
It is not. Okay. He said, I want to apologize to the Oklahoma City Thunder for underestimating them and not thinking they were ready to compete for a championship. Am I Magic Johnson?
You're Magic Johnson.
I think I'm Magic Johnson.
I think you just have to copy and paste that from your account.
and
then write Magic Johnson / Chris Vernon.
And me.
yeah.
And me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree with Magic.
I think you have to. I think you have to now.
And look, it appears as if the history of the NBA has been like every round, they are crumbling it up and throwing it in the trash, and I am the dummy because they don't have playoff scars. They have playoff paper cuts. And it appears as if they were wildly unnecessary, certainly for them to mow down their Western Conference Finals opponent. And, it's so weird when this happens. It does make you think back, and it's like, well, then what do we think about the Lakers? What do we think about the Warriors? And I was kind of left with last night as you see the grand exposure of every weakness take place with Minnesota, right? Here's a team that can expose every weakness. And it is a little like we always talk about, if you watch fights, styles make fights. It's like, and it feels like the guy that came in who's a wrestler, but then he just went up against this like striker and the guy just knocked his ass out, right? He's like, we don't even get on the mat. Like, you just knocked me out. And they played these teams where Minnesota had been built prior to, it's like Jokic is the guy in the West. That's the team in the West. And so how are we going to be able to build, like Tim Connelly, the same guy that built Minnesota is the one that built Denver. So he's doing that with Denver in mind as they are the reigning champions, right? And it comes to pass. They draw Denver. That is the team that they have to beat. And then they do it. And it's like they had Cat and they had Gobert and they had this size and they were going to be able to deal with this. And then you fast forward a year and it's like, whoa. That team is equipped with Denver in mind as the best team, right? Like that's why this works so well. And that's why the whole styles makes fight things. And they punished these small teams in the first round. Like they didn't have anything up there. So Randall's killing people and Gobert is killing people. And then they got to Oklahoma City and it's like, oh, well, no, this is not the right. Like our advantages that we present are no longer advantages against this team. In fact, they are what our advantages were against other opponents are now our massive weaknesses. Gobert does nothing. Randall does nothing. He sent
the Lakers home. Gobert ended Luka and LeBron's season single-handedly.
And
he can't even be on the floor against the Thunder.
And even against Golden State. But
they don't have bigs. That they did run into two teams that we've talked all season about. Like, is it going to be a problem that they literally don't have like someone over 6'10" that can play basketball?
Well, and then they could not punish them for being bigger and more physical. Like, you don't remember the time where it just felt like they were getting every rebound against the Thunder because it never happened.
No.
Unless you want to say the one throwaway game 3, right?
Which was wild because that was an absolute dominant game. I felt differently after watching the game 3. I felt differently about the series. And then 2 games later, you're like, oh, that was just an outlier.
Well, honestly, what's crazy is I always tell you that many times when you're a fan, the one that you remember is not the deciding one. Mm-hmm. And this followed suit because I've covered a lot of series like this. And I think if you're Minnesota fans, they're always going to think about 4. Yeah. They're going to think about 4. 4's the one. We got 20-something out from DiVincenzo. We got 20-something out of Alexander Walker.
Nothing.
We won. We won every single statistical category, and we couldn't get a stop. We got it to 3. Crowd's going crazy, and Jalen Williams hit another 3 to push it back up. Like, that's the one where they're going to go. That you become delusional when you're a fan and you think it would have all been different if, right? This is not. It would have all been different if we would have gotten 4. But after 4, it's almost like I don't even. If I'm a Minnesota fan, I'm never even going to think about 5. That was just a let go of the rope, right?
But I'm also like this. I think people don't respect what a successful basketball season an NBA team has had to lose in the conference finals.
I agree with you.
You've had an extremely successful season.
You were one of the last 4 teams remaining.
Only one team gets to raise the banner.
That's right.
And so many things have to break right that it's like, celebrate this. I know it feels bad, and I know it ended bad, but this is a great Minnesota Timberwolves season. It really is.
Of course it is.
And I'm not just saying that like as a Knicks fan. Like I don't.
You get to 2 conference finals in a row, and your best player is 24 years old. You're ahead of schedule, bro.
I did, and again, I rewatched this, and I don't mean to be flippant about rewatching stuff. Like I follow everything, I read everything. Like I take this job very seriously, right? I have expertise when it comes to NBA basketball. But rewatching it, I was impressed by just how Anthony Edwards in the first quarter was like, yeah, whatever happened in game 4, that's not going to happen again.
Right.
He's like, but I'm gonna get to the rim. In that first quarter, he was just like, double me, blitz me. I don't care who's under there. I'm getting there. And he did. He willed his way there. It just wasn't enough.
And then all those kickouts, they're not going down on the road.
I know.
They weren't going down. I mean, Jaden McDaniels is wide open, bro. What do you want?
Over and over.
We talked about this. This was when we talked about how, the team that sent them home. It's like, okay, bro, if Derrick Jones Jr. is going to make every corner 3,
then you're going to lose.
Okay, we lose. Yeah.
And you make an adjustment, and then PJ Washington makes every corner 3, and you're like, all right. Like,
but that's how it felt. Yeah. And it's like, this stuff can come down to it, and it's like, you get a total. They got so deflated by just not being able to do dick. They scored 9.
9.
9.
I was thinking about watching the game today.
Come on.
It was like 9-12 after like 5 minutes, and I was like, this is how many points the Timberwolves scored in the whole first quarter last game.
Well, and the other thing is, Gilgeous-Alexander on the other end, just absolutely, positively brilliant, like the whole way through. Just like 31, 8, and 5 in a conference finals when they want to make it like the same way Haliburton
I was going to say the same thing.
Down tonight.
He's so consistent.
He ain't doing that with this dude.
So consistent. Brunson's so consistent.
You're not doing it with this guy.
Bad SGA game. There's like sometimes there's C pluses, sometimes they're A pluses, but there's no D's or F's.
And that's what you've seen with these 2 guys. And interestingly enough, they've both been to the conference finals 2 years in a row. Haliburton and Edwards, where it's like
up and down.
I don't have the answer tonight. You know what I'm saying? I'll have the answer next time, but I don't have the answer tonight. Like, this is what it is. And that just does not happen with this guy. Like, he is just, oh, my God.
I think Jokic, we have to mention Jokic with that, too.
Of course. No,
Giannis belongs in that, too. Like, some guys they're going to get you 20. Sometimes more efficient than others, sometimes prettier than others, but it's consistent.
Right. And this guy just put up an unbelievable Western Conference Finals where we talk about superstars, and obviously there was that discussion about Haliburton post Game 4.
Mm-hmm.
The superstar is the guy that everybody in the gym knows that's the guy we got to slow down tonight.
Yeah.
And he's
whiteboard guy. You call it the whiteboard guy.
He still does it.
But I will say, and the next time we talk will be Monday nights, and perhaps we'll have the finals matchup by that point, right? We will, actually, whether it's after Game 7 or Game 6. I will say the Pacers would make a much better finals opponent, just from like a basketball perspective.
You think so?
I want the Knicks to be there. I just think there's something about
when you
talk about the Thunder, what do you talk about? Defense and forcing turnovers, right? And when you talk about the Pacers, you talk about offense and not turning the ball over.
Can we say this, though? Tonight's game, the one that you were at Madison Square Garden, made me feel worse about the finals matchup. Either way. Because you clearly feel worse about the Indiana after watching them have their worst performance ever. And then on the other side, you're like, I don't know if the Knicks could hold up against that Thunder team, right? Where it's like they're just coming in waves. Whereas, and the Indiana, like, here's all I'll say. The Knicks' chance would be what they did tonight to Indiana, which is, we're playing you half-court basketball, bro. We're running a play, and you're running a play, and we can do this free throw stuff, and we're playing dead ball basketball. But what we're not going to do is get in some kind of track meet with your ass. Mm-hmm. And that is, and honestly, nobody's been able to do it because they turned the ball over too much, and it's going to turn into a track meet no matter what. But, like, the trick is, much like Indiana, like, Oklahoma City does not want to play a ton of half-court basketball. That when Denver got them in games, it was transition stuff and then playing half-court basketball, them setting up that stupid zone they kept running all the time.
Yeah.
That was the only time, Oklahoma City looked like they had real chinks in the armor.
It's just hard to adjust to.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are we doing now? I will say this. One thing I wanted to say before we leave. The playoffs in the conference finals have been missing something that I'm so used to that I love so much about NBA basketball in the playoffs. Real animosity, beefs, double technicals, pushing, back and forth. This guy doesn't like that guy, and you can obviously tell. Like, I'm so used to it. It seems like a fixed variable. It's just like, oh, but if we get to a game 6, everyone hates each other, and this guy hates that guy, and they're going to give a little extra, and the refs are going to have to take control of the game early on. Like, this has been very ethical, cordial basketball in these two conference finals.
Okay, just say it. We miss Draymond Green.
I miss Draymond. I miss Dante DiVincenzo. I miss Joel Embiid pissing people off. Like,
Matherin would have been our chance, it feels like, right? He's like the crash
he's
out.
The one who's done
the
it.
Crash
but like,
out, loose cannon.
And even in the Detroit series, like when it got to around game 4, game 5, there's a little like double tech here and there or something.
Yeah.
And they would cut to, beef stew on the bench. But like, I expected this Pacers-Knicks series there to be one flare-up between Precious Achiuwa and Miles Turner. I want something.
And Aaron Gordon got hot and had heated.
A little bit, remember? But like the playoffs have been pretty much void of that. And again, like I don't root for violence and don't condone it, blah, 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 whatever I'm supposed to say in 2025. But I like it. I like it when a guy gets kicked out of the game. I like it when someone pushes somebody else. I like it when the team has to all get in a big group and pretend like they're going to fight, even though we all know they're not going to fight. I like that stuff. It
was Gordon Harden. Like that was the tizzy. It was actually Denver and the Clippers.
Whatever.
I got it. No,
I got it.
At
the end of the half at half court. That was so like when I remember my son called me. He was like, this crazy thing happened during the game. And I was just like, and I watched it back and I was like, bro, this is nothing. I miss it. I want it. And I feel like with all 4 of these teams that we have, actually 3 of these teams we have left, we're not going to get it.
No, there's no true crash out, guys.
Yeah, there's no guy. Matherin would be the closest. He did get into it with Giannis after the game.
Yeah, he's
the most beef we've had is between Tyrese Haliburton's dad and Giannis Antetokounmpo, both of which are no longer allowed to go to basketball games.
Yeah, they're not like hot-headed guys.
Yeah, I miss it. I like that.
Who's really got a hothead left?
But like you play the same team 4, 5 times in a row with these kind of stakes. You expect flare-ups to happen. It's just not happening.
No,
again, like I'm not supposed to root for it, but I like that part. I like that part of postseason
and it
basketball.
And it adds so much more juice to it.
Yeah.
And it makes you hate the other team a lot more. And
yeah.
No. There's a place for the Pat Bevs and the Dylan Brookses and the Draymonds of the world. Yeah.
It makes series more fun.
Yeah.
I guess Neesmith and Brunson sometimes like bump into each other and then Brunson fakes a foul and looks at the ref. Like that's the closest we got. Seriously. That's the closest we got.
Well,
any legitimate beef.
So what are you going to do for game 6?
I'm I'm going to find that guy Will who messed up the tic-tac-toe thing, and I'm going to buy him a flight. And
will you try to watch it at your house? Will you try to go to a bar? Will you try to find buddies to watch it with? Like, how do you maneuver this?
I like watching big games by myself at my house. I take notes. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I sit there in the room by myself at my house and I take notes. And if the Knicks are losing, I try not to interact with the rest of my family because it's not going to be good if I do.
Understood. All right. That's going to do it for tonight's show. I hope that we're getting to talk about a Game 7 on Monday night. That is for sure. Thank you to our executive producer, Jesse Lopez. Thank you to Tucker, as always. And Jacoby, I'll talk to you next week.
Must be 21 and over and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and over and present in D.C. Got a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.